Hi, I'm Renee Eckhart. I'm one of the clinical specialists here at Cork Medical, and today we'll be covering how to do a Coccyx-Sacral application with a bridge. We're here with this patient now, and we're going to be doing a Coccyx-Sacral wound application of negative pressure, and we're going to bridge that pour pad off to the side to make things more comfortable for him to wear. Now this patient has already been correctly identified. His wound and peri-wound have already been prepared. So his wound has been washed, the peri-wound has been washed, he has skin prep on. So at this point we're ready to do our protecting of the peri-wound, and we do that by window painting. Some people call it picture framing. And there's a couple different methods to this, and honestly I do both types. It just depends on the particular patient that we're using, but I'll show you both. The first one I see a lot of, you'll do the strips and then you just work your way around that wound, or you could also do a pattern cut. When we go to do the pattern method, this particular piece is a square and you can lay it on the square or the rectangle. I actually like diamonds because they move really well with this particular location of the body, and so I will lay this down and I'll go ahead and I'll trace my pattern. And now this is what this will look like, and we can now cut this out. So now that we have our pattern all nice cut out, you would just use your flaps in the back to peel this out. And now you're ready to peel the top part. If you pop this forward, this stands up. Even with gloves on, you can feel it really well. And then you would just, I call this press and peel. You just press along as you peel it back so everything stays where it's supposed to. And then you pull that away at an angle. Now we're ready to apply our bridge. Now I use what I call a 3-4 method, and I do that to kind of help me remember sizes. So this particular bridge, this is my bottom piece and it's 3 strips wide. So I'll take the flaps in the back and I open those up and I'll just lay this down. And again, we peel this top layer and press everything down. Now we're ready to put in our foam. Now that we've protected our peri-wound and we've laid our bridge down, we're ready to do our foam. Now if you have exposed bone, tendon, or hardware, you want to protect those items with a white foam or a tightly woven gauze like Zeroform or Adaptic. Now in this particular case, we're just going to go ahead and put our foam in, and in the kit you'll get, this happens to be a medium sized piece of foam, but we also have a large. This particular wound has some depth to it, and so I've cut this piece, but because it's deeper on one side, I've actually cut it to where I can double it in size, so when it sucks down it's nice and flush with the body. I've also cut my bridge to make everything nice and easy when we go to do our groundwork. So we're just going to put this in our wound. Now, when you're by yourself, you don't always have a second set of hands, so you can use these smaller strips to kind of hold things in place to be your second set of hands while you are doing other things. So this kind of holds our place for us while I go get my bridge. So we're going to make sure that our foam bridge is on top of our tape. I'm going to tuck that in there so my black foam is touching black foam, and now we're ready to cover this up. Now our bridge is secure black foam touching black foam. I'm going to take another piece here. And again, I like laying this on the diamond because it just moves really well with the body. There's no real fighting with it. Sometimes you get that with the other angles. I just like to smooth everything out. Again, I'll pop this up. This peels back. And now we're ready to encapsulate our bridge. This goes back to our 3-4 method. Now it makes sense because once I put this over here, since it has to go up and over the foam, the edges match without taping the patient too much. So again, I'll just peel these edges back, make sure that I have overlap on my seams, and tape everything down. Again, we pop this forward and peel this back. And now we're ready to cut our hole. Okay. So we now have everything encapsulated the way we want it, and we're ready to cut the hole here on the bridge port pad area. So in order for you all to see this more clearly, I'm actually going to move him over to give you a clearer view. So now that we're ready to cut this hole, I like doing what I call the pinch pull cut. You kind of pinch right here in the center. Don't be afraid of it. It's real forgiving, so it's real stretchy. So you make this pretty little cone right here in the center of your platform that we've made here, and you snip it. And this hole is too small. Now this pump that we have pulls 8 to 10 liters of fluid per minute, and you want your holes to match, and we can see here that these do not. So I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to take my thumbs and roll out these edges real nice and pretty. And we now do another spot check, and we see if we bend it back, this goes edge to edge and it fits just the way we want to. So again, we peel this back. You grab your little butterfly wings here, and then we just, again, match our edges up just like that. And we put it all down, and our scalloped edges get peeled back one side at a time. Now everything's nice and intact, and we're ready to connect this patient to the negative pressure. So we connect our two ends together. It's a lure lock, so it just has to be finger tight. I'm going to turn on our pump. You see that we're starting to get that draw down that we want. And now you can really see why we doubled that foam. So we try to avoid having a big dent in the wound, and everything is as flush as we can get it. And your dressing is complete.